All right, so thanks, Amro, for coming down to the podcast today. It's been a while.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and just for our listeners, today it's we have a fighter with us who's walked the path of physical and mental tenacity. So you're not only known for your prowess in the ring, but you're also a warrior in the mind. Now you've embraced the principles of mindfulness to navigate not only the fight world, but also your life, and we're going to get into that. We're going to dig a bit into your journey, into your fight processes, and the transformative power of the training that you've done with Team Tieu in the UK, and also a bit of mindset.
Yeah.
So guys, sit back, relax, and we're going to get a little bit to know you. And
Yes.
again, thanks for doing this.
Thank you for having me again.
Well, we've been good friends for a while now. You
Yeah.
introduced to me by the Team Tieu guys.
Yeah.
But when I met you, you'd already been in London for a while. But can you share a little bit about, who is Amro? Because there's a lot of history to you, right?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you were a chef. Like you worked in a restaurant rather, and before in London, and you struggled a bit. You were a lot skinnier back then, and there was different. So talk a little bit about your upbringing. What about that formed the man that you are today?
Okay. Whew. So I was born in Milan, raised by an Egyptian family. My father and my mom are Egyptian.
Mm-hmm.
But growing up in Milan, we grew up in a bit of a rough area called Barona. And I remember growing up, it was just very challenging. Like you will always have to fight over silly stuff with the kids. So you always had to have like this kind of tough mentality from young age to don't get like bullied or anything like that. To be fair, luckily, I have never been bullied when I was young. I have, but very little bit. Not for a long period of time.
Yeah.
I've seen people getting it way worse than me. And but at the age of 15, my parents were so strict because obviously we're Muslims. So I don't know what's about foreign parents they have, but they always think, oh, my son or my daughter need to be this, and that. Like for them, they wanted me to be a lawyer, a doctor. To be fair, I wanted to study to be an architect. That was my absolute dream, was to become an architect when I was a kid. Secondary school. Then I went to high school and I started, I was about 14, 15. I started mixing up with the wrong people. So, your first join, your silly stuff, as what every kid does. Obviously, my parents being so strict, they never wanted me to like go out, always stay at home and study the Quran, or everything, study Arabic language. That's why now I can read and write, thankfully. But it was hard when you're a kid. When you're a kid, all you want to do is just, you want to go out with your friends, you want to party, this kind of silly stuff. So at the age of 15, I told my dad that I wanted to do kickboxing. Because the reason why is I used to watch Giorgio Petrosian, which is one of my biggest inspirations, in Octagon, which they used to do it on a channel called Italia Uno in Italy. Every 6 weeks or so, they used to do this thing called Octagon. And Petrosian was like the main guy. I was like, geez, this guy's sick. So I started being more interested into the kickboxing. But mainly, it was an escape for me. It wasn't really about the kickboxing. It was me trying to get out of the house. So what I used to do is, I made my dad take me to a kickboxing gym. I went there a couple of times. Then what I used to do is, I used to tell my mom, I'm going to go training, grab the bag, hide it, and go out with my friend.
Yeah.
And then, so that didn't really last long. Then at the age of 16, I done some stupid stuff, so I got arrested, and I was on probation on a tag. So that made me even more angry. I was very angry kid. Then from there, I just see like, I had this mentality of like, fuck the world, blah, blah, blah. It's me against everyone. This kind of style, like, you know, fuck the police, all this shit. Where every kid goes through if you do stuff like this.
Yeah.
You start hating the government. You say, oh, the police does this.
Yeah.
Reality is, bro, you do something wrong, you pay for it. That is it. That's what I always say anyways to the others and stuff. But then after that, they gave me a sentence and I had to go after school. I had to go to this rehab center where they helped me with homework, change my mindset and stuff like this. And by then I was about 16 and a half. Then I started doing some more dodgy stuff, so I failed the sentence. So they had to take me away from my family to Piemonte, which is far away from my house. About 4-hour drive.
Yeah. Because you're not quite an adult yet, right?
No,
so you can't do anything yet.
Yeah,
you have to go to like a juvenile kind of
Yeah, exactly.
housing.
Yeah, a juvenile housing where you live with immigrants, people that they were young and they came on a boat, and criminals that they're your age. So it's a step before prison. So before they take you to prison, they take you to there. Then if you're worse, then obviously your sentence will go to prison.
Yeah.
So that place there taught me discipline. Like, oh my God, the structure in there, I've never experienced anything like this. I would have rather went prison, because prison, you got an hour free a day. That's it. The rest, up to you what you want to do. You stay in or you stay, you got some activities to do, that's it.
Yeah.
That place, 7 a.m., you have to wake up. Then you got to go downstairs, breakfast, and talk about your feelings in front of like another 15 guys.
Yeah.
What have you done the day before? And if you done a mistake or you were nasty to someone, you got to apologize to them face to face.
Yeah.
And we had these guys, they were like the guards. They try to push your limit so much to get a reaction of you. Yeah. Obviously, I used to be very hot-headed, so they will always get a reaction of me. Like, ain't no way they wouldn't. Yeah. One, it was because I was hot-headed. Two, is because I felt like I always had to prove something. You don't want to be that bitch. Do you know what I mean? Like, the one that just sits back.
Especially
and like...
in that environment.
Exactly. You know, everyone else won't respect you.
Yeah.
And I stayed there for about just under a year, about 11 months. And then I had my third sentence and I was freed. But in the meantime, after 7 months that I was well behaved, they started sending me to work with my dad. Back then, my dad had a restaurant, but it wasn't really doing well, to be fair. That was the main reason why we started being a bit, finding other ways to make money, because we didn't really want to have money from our parents, because we see like at home the situation was really tough. Yeah. So I felt bad asking money. Yeah. So this is what, like, I was like, me and my little brother, he's always been my right hand in everything. We were like dynamite couple, like together. I'm glad we ain't like, I miss him every day, but I'm glad we ain't together anymore.
He's
because
in Italy?
Yeah, he is. I'm glad we went our ways, because I don't think my life would have been 10% of what I have if I stayed in Milan, because it was hard, like really hard. Yeah. And then coming out from there, I came out in November. In December, I turned 18. So I had my Italian citizenship, because in Italy it works for the first 18 years. Even if you're born there, you're Egyptian, but born in Italy. Once you turn 18, then you get the citizenship.
You can apply for it.
Yeah. You don't really apply. You just go and request it. You get it because you're born there.
Because you were born there, you don't get it automatically.
No, you don't get it automatically. You get it after you're 18. Because what they do is they test your behavior. Luckily, what happened is when I finished my sentence, I finished it a month before turning 18. And what happened is I finished it with like well manners. Like I finished
Yes.
it well. So what happened when they looked at my thing, they said, yeah, he had a bump in the road, but the guy is good at the end of the day. So what happened? They gave it
So
to
it
me.
worked then, that system kind of then worked.
It,
You know? Got you the discipline.
yeah.
Got you the...
It worked, but I was too young for it to work. It works now. Like if I look at it now, I live my life, but damn the rules. Like the structure I had back then, it kind of works now. In a different way, but it works.
Yeah.
Then when I turned 18, I had the citizenship. Then in May, that's 5 months after, a friend of mine messaged me being like, I live in London. I was like, bro, I'm gonna come. He was like, oh, I couldn't wait for one of my friends to say that.
Yeah.
It was a Wednesday. And I went to my dad and I was like, I'm going London. He said, you ain't going nowhere, you crazy guy. I said, yeah, I promise I am. He said, with what money? I said, just don't worry. I sold my D&G watch to a guy called Claudio, a friend of mine, 70 euro. My dad gave me 220 euro. And 300 euro is all I had. I took a luggage, my passport, and I came. This friend of mine didn't make me pay rent or nothing at the start. And then, but he helped me find a job.
In the restaurant?
In a restaurant, yeah. So I worked as a kitchen porter first, washing dishes and stuff.
Where?
In a place called Le Pont de la Tour. All my days. That place used to be a Michelin star place.
Pont de la Tour. Where is that, Mayfair?
No, it's in Tower Hill. French restaurant. Like, you know, one of them bow ties level.
Yeah.
Hard. Working there, I have never experienced feeling humiliated and like unvalued as a human, like in that place. Like you don't value shit in there.
Yeah.
So what I used to do is I used to work from 4 p.m. until 4 in the morning.
Ooh.
Yeah, 12-hour shift.
Wow.
Because we used to close quite late with a 40-minute break. One time, then after like 2 months, I got promoted to commis waiter, which is, the commis waiter is, keep in mind back then, like zero English, not even hello, like nothing.
Really?
Nothing,
Yeah.
not even hi.
Yeah.
All I used to do is I used to listen a lot to Whitney Houston because her words are really like, it's easy to understand.
Yeah.
And I used to listen to Whitney Houston and read the words. When I don't understand nothing, trying to translate it. So music really did help me a lot with the English. So after being promoted to commis waiter, it just became a bit harder and harder because I didn't have to communicate much, but I still have to communicate because a kitchen porter, all you do is clean dishes. You don't really have to speak to anyone. Nothing, zero. It's just you and the dishes. When you're a commis job is like when the chefs call service, you go there, the chef tells you the table number.
Yeah.
You go to the waiter, you say the table number, you stand there with a tray like this. They take the plate off you and they serve it to the table, right?
Yeah.
So, but for example, like, oh, can I clear this? Can I say that? You needed to know that, but back then I couldn't communicate. So what I used to do is I used to bring an Italian guy luckily everyone in the kitchen was Italian, like working with me.
Yeah.
So I used to take one of them and go and like ask him, oh, what is he saying? He used to translate to me and I'll get it done. But one episode that stuck in my mind until now is, it was about midnight and we done about 240 covers, 4 of us. And I used to smoke cigarettes back then. So I told one of my colleagues I'm gonna go for a cigarette, but reality is I should have went to the manager and told him. I went out to have a cigarette and I was smoking. This manager here came and saw me there. And he told me, who did you ask? Back then I couldn't really speak, so what I said, it was like, my colleague. He was like, oh, colleague, okay, come in. So he made me come inside the kitchen and he said, everyone stop, everyone go home, Amro's gonna finish the service by himself. Mate, I'm kidding you not, I had dishes you don't understand like this, piled.
The whole restaurant's worth.
The whole restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had to wipe every single plate, cutlery, everything in that kitchen. I wiped it off myself.
Yeah.
I finished maybe about 4:35 in the morning.
Did you work for Gordon Ramsay or something?
Man, it was like that style
Wow.
of restaurant.
Yeah.
I didn't even take the bus home.
Yeah.
I've walked from Tower Hill, and back then I used to live in Bow Road, just after Milan. I've walked from Tower Hill to Bow Road crying, thinking, who the fuck made me do this?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
But I knew that staying in London was the right thing.
Yeah.
Like, Milan would have been the end. Also, my friends were betting on me that I will come back, that I will never resist. And like, the more they bet, the more they made me stubborn. So I was like, yeah, you know what? Fuck you. I'll never come back. So yeah, that's a bit of a story. That's the start.
Well, that's a beautiful transition now, because that leads us to the journey of fighting, right? So explain. So how does Amro, that's crying and, you know, in a job that he hates, but he needs it to sustain himself, right?
Yeah.
How does that transition to fighting? Because you'd already had that, you said that passion.
Yeah.
In Italy, you saw George Petrosian, inspiration. Now, how does that translate now to your fighting career in the UK?
After quitting that job, because eventually I quit after 8 months, but I went to work in another restaurant. I got employed at the Rosewood Hotel, Holborn Dining Room, which is just across Gym Box. That hotel. And one day I was on my break and I was sat at prep, and I look and I see Gym Box. I said, okay, let me go visit.
Yeah.
So I walked inside, and all of Team Tieu, the ring was packed of people.
So you called it at the right time.
I was just walking in. I was
lots of
so
times where it's
lonely.
empty, right?
Yeah.
So you actually saw it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was 2 p.m. or like 3 p.m.
Yeah.
And I walk in, and I remember seeing Matty and Carlton and Dave going at it, sparring each other.
What year are we talking about?
2014. I got to the UK 2013. No, it was the end of 2013, because it was sorry, the end of 2014.
Yes, we're talking about 8-9 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was just it was October or November 2014. I walk in and I see these guys sparring. I'm like, oh my God, I want to do this.
Yeah.
So the girl at reception, Sayo girl, she was trying to make me visit the gym. And I could not move from in front of the ring. I was just staring at them. I was saying, no, this, contract, contract. And then she was like, yeah, okay. She explained me the membership, blah, blah, blah. I signed. I'm kidding you not. Maybe for 2 years, I've never missed a session. I used to call sick at work to go train. I got obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Like, I found freedom in it because, one, I was so lonely. All I had was my housemates. And most of the time, everyone was working. Yeah. So you don't really have time for each other in the UK, unfortunately. Yeah. The UK sucks you in. This is how it is. You don't have a life. Yeah. Like, even when you're off, you're not off. Yeah. Like, when you're off, you wake up, your day's already planned somehow. Where it's so strange how the UK genuinely sucks you into a deep hole. Like, you just living, like, everything is such a fast pace. You're just doing it without even realizing what you're doing. But this is how you live in here. I feel like this city just like this. And this Muay Thai has gave me a break from that. So instead of sitting, smoking weed and watching Netflix all day on my day off, because my housemates were at work, and I was the type of person that was so shy to go out and speak to people because I couldn't speak. I couldn't really engage with anyone, so I was embarrassed to try and engage. So I would just leave it. So I would be like, I will order chicken wings from downstairs chicken shop, smoke weed, watch Netflix all day. That's what I do on my day off. Now I have Muay Thai instead. So slowly, straight away, this first session I was about to die, so I chucked my cigarettes in the bin. I was like, you know what? I can't smoke if I'm gonna do this. I reduced the weed. Now on my day off was gym. Everything was just way more structured. Then slowly, yeah, after a year or so, Phil, the head coach of Team Tieu, after like 6 or 7 months I was training, he was like, would you ever fight? I was like, yeah, that's my dream. I want to fight. He was like, interclubs are a good way to start. Back then we used to run the Kennington interclubs. So Phil put me in. I had about maybe 10, 11 interclubs before doing my first C class. Yeah, man, the rest is history, as they say.
Yeah, and well, for those that don't know, you've come a long way since then now, a professional fighter.
Yeah.
What was how was that transition going from interclub, taking it to the next step? You know, was that a challenge for you, or was it just because of who you were surrounded with and the evolution and your passion?
It's one of the most nerve-wracking sports you will ever feel. Like if you never stepped into a ring, it's very hard to explain how you feel, especially about the day before, or like 3 hours before, or 5 hours before, or the morning of the fight. It's really, really, really complicated to understand what you feel. It's one of them feelings that you can't explain. It's nerve, fear, excitement. It's all together, like it's really, really hard to explain. So my transition, at the start, I had very different transitions, because when I moved from interclubs, N class to C class, I was an angry kid. So in my head was just excitement. I wasn't scared. I was like, I never like really understood how fighting dangerous was. I loved to fight. Like no matter what or who, I just wanted to fight all the time. I was very fighty guy. Like I would love a fight. So what happened was, I used to like have maybe about 30 cigarettes and 5 espressos before a fight.
Wow.
One time my ass met that, I had about 8 espressos just outside Bloodline show, Blood and Glory, and I'm kidding you not, maybe 22 cigarettes in 2 hours.
Jesus.
I was like, boom. And Matty was like, oh man, like you need to calm down here. And then we went inside the medicals, and my heart rate, my blood pressure was like 185 or 187. Like the doctor was so scared. He was like, mate, like how is that possible? I was like, yeah, I just had a couple of espressos. I'm a bit nervous. He said, you get a punch like that, like your brain could pop of how like your blood pressure is high. He was like, look, calm down a bit. I'll sign you off, but you got to chill a bit before the fight. Eventually, the blood pressure went down, and I went into the fight. Round 1, I just went full like street fight. Like I was swinging, fighting. Round 2, my mouth wide open. I couldn't breathe. Like like mouth guard. But eventually, I won the fight. I went through the whole 3 rounds, and I beat the guy. But what made me understand that if I wanted to become a good fighter, I had to stop smoking, because they don't work together. When you get, what Philip Tew used to always tell me this. He used to tell me, who's your idol? I'll be like, yeah, Giorgio Petrosian. He'll be like, oh, do you think Giorgio Petrosian be smoking? Huh? Like that? Like, look, you're going into this and you're smoking like 30 cigarettes. And stuff like this. I'll be like, yeah, this man is right, blah, blah. So eventually I transitioned from smoking cigarettes to heated tobacco, IQOS, or like electric cigarette. It helped a bit, but still, I wasn't quite there yet. That's when I was B class. Then when I turned A class, I realized that the fights were getting hard. So now, that 1% difference makes the difference, and it makes a huge difference. That little bit. You two can be like this, but then that little bit of a vape,
so much
boom.
more.
So I went to Singapore with my good friend Joseph Laziri to corner him during lockdown, and I get to Singapore, and I was looking forward to that IQOS 24-hour travel to get to Singapore, and I'm imagining smoking the IQOS outside the airport, and I get just about I'm exiting the airport, and there is this like like security check.
Yeah.
They make my bag goes through, and they were like, "Oh, electric cigarette."
It's
I was
legal
like,
there, yeah.
"Yes."
Yeah.
And they made me look. It says 6-month prison or 20 grand fine.
Yeah.
So they made me sign a paper that I'm aware of this. They chucked it all, and they took us to the hotel, mate.
They took you to the...
They took us to the hotel. No, normal. Like they took us to the hotel. Nothing happened,
Yeah.
but they make you sign a paper that you're aware of this. So if they catch you next time, then you get 6-month prison or 20k fine.
Yeah.
They took us to the hotel. The whole journey to the hotel, I could not think about anything else
Apart from the smoke.
apart of smoking.
Yeah.
I was about 70 kilos or 69 kilos then. We stayed 14 days. I messaged even one of my friends that lived in Singapore to go to Malaysia, trying to get an IQOS for me and get it back.
Yeah.
But because it was lockdown, you wasn't allowed to leave the hotel. Imagine me and Lazari, same team, we were in separate rooms, so we couldn't even see each other. So for 14 days, I was me, my demons, and that's it, inside that room.
Yeah.
Man, I got out that room about 82 kilograms. From all I did was Deliveroo, McDonald's, KFC, Foes, duck and rice, just food, just to like compensate that thing about smoking. But it is the best thing that has ever happened to me, because I got out that place nicotine free. Yes, fat as fuck, but healthy. And since then, I've never looked back. Never ever put a cigarette back in my mouth. That's it. I was done with smoking. I realized God has made this. This is intentional for God to make me understand that this is the path I chose. I got to stick to it.
Yeah.
That's it. This is the only way.
Yeah.
So since then, I've never smoked again. That's it. It's done, man.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because the stories that you share, there's a lot of like mental challenges, like the restaurant and the boss and the you crying and the mental and this. So we worked together with mindfulness. Like, can you explain a bit like what made you want to reach out to me in the first place?
Yeah.
How did that originate?
So I've reached out to you because of the nerves before the fight. Like leading up to the fight, we got so many thoughts going through your mind.
Yeah.
And working with you has helped me not delete the thoughts, but has helped me realize when I can stop and decide to stop thinking about that thought and change it into something positive.
Yeah.
Or like, you see them when we do the stuff we do on the computer, when you say green flag, orange or red, the anxiety it gives you. That has really helped me to figure out whether I wanna keep thinking about what I'm thinking of or just be present and enjoy the moment.
Yes.
I've reached out to you because I think you're very professional and I think you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I just appreciate everything you do and how present you are and helpful you are toward us. Like, you're always there with us week by week. You lead me, you message me, you try to like help me. You tell me how your day going, did it go well, did it go bad? And you never really get upset with me if like I go, oh man, today I only done 5 minutes and I couldn't do the 10 minute. You always have a positive impact to that. You always say, okay, don't worry, tomorrow maybe push it to 7 minutes and the day after it will be 10 and slowly we got up to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is, that's why I reached out to you, because I think, you're the man.
Yeah, you spoke a bit about the red and the green, and just for people that are not aware, like one of the exercises that I always do is I'll have the person that I'm working with tell me their thoughts for like 5 minutes, and I'm just like, and that usually shocks people when they look back and they see, wow, what is it that I've thought in those 5 minutes, and how random and how maybe repetitive some of them are. But that's the exercise that we do. We look back at it together, and I say, give it a color rating. Does it make you feel anxious? No? Okay, green. Does it make you feel a little bit anxious? Then orange, and if very anxious. Then you go to red.
Yeah, I love that exercise because it really makes you realize how much goes through your brain without even thinking. It's genuinely so random. Like, but if you've never done it, you could never understand how
Yes, thank you.
like that
Yeah.
is like
Yeah.
you gotta try it to understand what I'm talking about, because when you just say it like that, it seems what do you mean red, green, or orange?
Yeah.
And what do you mean random thoughts? No, I decide what I'm thinking of.
Yes.
Generally,
Yeah.
you're not. Like, that's what's scary about mindfulness. It's like how people are so convinced about they decide what to think of, when reality is your brain just thinks of the most random stuff
Yeah.
every minute.
And usually it's the scary stuff and the stuff
It
that
is.
you're worried about, right?
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
stuff that you need to do.
Yeah,
Right?
that's closer to the fight. Say, for example, when I'm off season, I realize that my thoughts are just genuinely so random. Like, oh, what's my puppy gonna eat today? And then I think, oh, should I get a massage? And then I think, oh, my hair a bit long. Or, like genuinely so random.
Yeah.
And then I think blueberries, raspberries, like dumb. But when I'm fighting in a fight camp, then it's so different. Like the thoughts are like,
It's the red ones.
how many PTs do I have?
Yeah.
Have I done the sprints today? What am I gonna eat? Oh, chicken, beef. My brother, my family. Then the thoughts are just so more related to what goes around you rather than just random thoughts when I'm off season. Like when I'm on holiday, it never crosses my mind, for example, random stuff like, I don't know, is my sister in the uni today? Or like, stuff like that. More of you think about, what am I going to do today? Or stuff like this. But I realized that when I'm in fight camp, I really think about the people or the things that I care the most of. Like a lot of times is my brother, my mom, my dad, my family in general, my wife, my puppy, I don't know, the fight, my team, Phil, Matty, like a lot of the gym box, like a lot becomes just related of the fight.
Yeah.
And if you've never done mindfulness, I think you never really understand why the thoughts are going through your mind and how to control them. But obviously with your help and stuff, I've learned how to control it a little bit more.
Yeah, and just to shed some light on that, it's like, especially when we do something that's out of our comfort zone. Right, so holiday, this and that, normal life, okay, cool. But when you've got a big event that is outside of your comfort zone, and we know it's outside of your comfort zone because 30 cigarettes, 8 espressos, hot pounding like that.
Yeah.
You're doing that because there's a high pressure situation about to happen. And literally your brain's thinking life or death.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of times we think about our family, your brother, your this and that, your wife. Because when you're about to die, that's what people think about. They think about what's most important to me. And they worry about it.
Yeah.
And what I just try and introduce, even if we don't get too deep with it, I want the people that I'm working with, I just want to introduce them to that, hey, it's not your fault. Right? Whether you want to or not, these thoughts are just going to happen. And the closer you get to your fight, the scarier it's going to get. And the more anxious you're going to feel.
100%.
And for so many people, that's why so many fighters are terrified before a fight. But with mindfulness, it shows you that, hey, it's normal. Whether you like it or not, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And let's introduce a few techniques or tools to say, look, if my fight's tomorrow, I'm going to be thinking about it all day long, right? But if I'm having dinner and I want to relax, now's not a good time for me to worry about tomorrow. So as I notice the thought, because I'm practicing it, I realize now it's that scary one. How skilled are you to like, okay, can you shift all of your concentration back to your breath? And for many people, you can't because you haven't practiced that. It's very hard, even when it's just a green thought, it's hard to come back.
Yeah.
So that's why we practice with the greens and the orange, because when the red ones come, you have no trained muscle, then you're just going to get hijacked.
Yeah.
They're going to walk all over you and you're going to be stuck there. And that's like a prison. And that's why for so many people, like, fighting, especially when it comes to the fight camp, they don't enjoy it.
Yeah, they don't. Because
they love the idea of fighting, they love sparring and stuff. But when it comes to the fear and, like you mentioned, the week before, the night before, the morning of, the thoughts are just going to be about that. And if you don't have any tools to like how do I just stop it even for just a brief second? You know, how do I just like be able to clear my mind and know that even if I can't do it all the time, I'm happy knowing that I can stop it just for a brief second.
Yeah.
Rather than just being full time in this prison where there's no hope and there's no alternative. It's just the negative thoughts.
Yeah.
Rather than say, hey, there's a bit of choice. And the more I practice, the more I can access that alternative. Let me be present, or let me think about something positive. Right?
Yeah.
So we worked together for about 8-9 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, before one of your fights. How difficult was it for you to grasp the concepts, and at what point did you start to see some of the benefits, and what were they?
I think it's about constancy. Like you got to
Yes.
do it every day for you to realize that it's working.
Mm-hmm.
At the start, I was thinking, this ain't working, because I could not concentrate for that time.
Yeah.
But slowly, the more I done it, every single day, the more I got into it, the longer period of time I could concentrate, the longer I could see my thoughts. Also, an exercise that I really liked is when you always tell me, while you're going to work, be aware.
Mm.
And like, if your mind starts shifting, just bring it back to the present, like the tree, the colors, when you walk in the bus, the people in front of you, what's he wearing and stuff. Pay attention to what's present. Yeah. And until today, even when we don't do the sessions together, like, you know, you're very present in my like fight camps, but on off season I get a bit lazy with it, because obviously you want to do your own thing a bit and stuff like that, so we don't really speak to each other much. But on a daily basis, I still look at how green the tree is, or how natural this, I don't know, the stone on the floor, or like the bus I'm taking, or the person standing in front of me. Yeah. When I'm walking to gym box, what surrounds me, the sounds of this bird, or I really try to pay attention to when I'm present.
Yes.
I know not all the time it works, but I try to do it as much as I can. Obviously, sometimes I'm just walking and I don't think nothing. Yeah. But sometimes I just think, G said that time. Yeah, let me do it.
Yeah, well, but it's important, because if you didn't realize that at all, you wouldn't be aware, and you would just be thinking. Yeah. At least there are moments when you realize, I can choose to be present by observing the trees. Yeah. Because the alternative is, once you then stop doing that, you go back into, I've got to do this later, and I got that, and I got that, and I got that, and I need to go here, and got to feed the dog, and that's why for me it's so important as a mindfulness coach, is to teach people, hey, you're on autopilot most of the day. Yeah. And that's quite sad.
It is.
Because you don't realize that there's choice. But like you mentioned, even in those brief moments that you notice it, it's a bit of like just taking your foot off the gas pedal just for a little bit. Yeah. And really appreciating it. I'm watching the tree and I'm seeing the stones. And rather than being all day long, I was in thought, okay, now we start to have a little bit where we're present. Yeah. And the more that we train that, the more, okay, even if it's only 5%, 6%, 7%, we're introducing presence into our life. But we also know in our minds that, when we need to, we understand that, there's something that we can do. Yeah. And that's why I say for fighters that are doing it, don't come to me like the week before a fight and say, hey, can you help me? Yeah. It's like, I can give you a few breathing techniques that might help when you're panicking. But if you really if you want to grasp, the process and understanding, look, let me show you the green thoughts. Let me show you the orange and the red. And let's train, because fight week is going to be a lot of red. And it's not just like I have a scary thought, let me breathe and it's done. No, that scary thought's going to come back and come back and come back. And you're going to have to have that, have that mental
strength, going back to your anchor kind of vibe.
Yeah, but you need to have the muscle where it's not just once. It's it's going to have to be again and again and again and again. And for a lot of people, that's draining. Yeah. Because those that don't know it, the thought comes, they're panicking. Those that have it a little bit, thought comes, take a breath. It actually feels a bit better. But they're not ready for the next one. Yeah. And the next one. And in the day, you might have it 100 times. And it's exhausting. Yeah, definitely. Especially the morning of, like, oh my God, it's so scary. Okay, take a breath. But are you ready for the next one? and the next one, and the next one. And when they come in, hey, you're up next, or and all these little things that can be triggering, that's when you really need to, I realize that I'm just panicking, go back into it.
Yeah.
And that's why the more you do it, the more you can, reduce those chemicals that are being put, reduce that initial fear, and just kind of snap yourself out of it. It's like, okay, come on, I'm Amro. Then you start to go through all your positive things. I'm the best, I'm this. But you forget about that in those moments of fear.
Definitely.
And so but how would you describe it, for example, if you were talking to like one of your friends back in Italy now? If I say to you, hey, you did this mindfulness, because I struggle myself to teach people, like you said, it's something you need to experience, right? But how do you describe it? What is mindfulness for you?
If I had to describe it with one word, I would say freedom, because it frees you from bad thinking. So sometimes you're like in a prison in your head, and you're thinking like a lot of bad things and stuff. With mindfulness, I think it just helps you get out this like red thoughts or like dangerous thoughts or whatever you're thinking and stuff like that. I think mindfulness I think it's great for everyone. Like, forget you're a fighter or whatever.
Yeah.
I reckon 90% of the people that need mindfulness.
Yeah.
Because no matter what's your job or whatever you do, in your life you're definitely stressed. Like, you got red thoughts. 100%.
Yeah.
And I feel like mindfulness is like a pain relief. It's like it helps you clear that red thoughts, and like it helps you clear your mind, even for that split second.
Exactly.
It's not a long term thing. Like,
it's not you don't do it and then okay, I'm great
exactly.
for the rest of my
like
life.
If you're,
No.
I don't know, if your cat died and you don't want to think about your cat just died, you're gonna still thinking about your cat died, but it's just gonna be, you're gonna try to like go back to your anger, disappear for a second, think about it again, disappear.
Yeah.
It's like, it comes, wipe, but it will come again and again and again. But I think the more you do it, the smarter you're gonna get with it.
Yeah.
Maybe you can change your thought into some other thought, which is not red, but maybe orange. Then from orange, move to a green, and then obviously if you do a stressful job, like I talk about myself, like fighting is stressful. You may have more red thoughts than, I don't know, someone that sits in an office all day.
Yes.
I'm not saying that people that sit in an office don't have a stressful life or stressful jobs, but I don't think it's as stressful as getting elbowed in the face.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Of course,
they may get an angry email. That's the most they can get from their boss.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna get elbowed or kneed or KO'd.
There's no threat to life.
Or embarrassed or humiliated in front of the whole world.
Yeah.
That's what mindful is for me, I think.
I've got to, without you maybe knowing it, but you've actually helped in my coaching of mindfulness. And I remember it was at a show that we did in Crystal Palace.
Okay, yeah.
And I was working with a few fighters, because sometimes what you know, and you just assume that people are like they're all the same. So I teach you that, and I teach you that. But every fighter is different.
Definitely.
Right? And what motivates someone for a fight
may not motivate the
may
other.
not, and they might even do the opposite for the fight. And I've always claimed to say that I'm there to help you in the weeks leading up to it, how to deal with that. And then on fight day, that's on you. Right? I'm just trying to make you enjoy that.
Yeah.
But I realized that my role is more than that. My role is on fight day as well. And I remember working with, I won't say his name, but I was working with someone. We were doing our visualizations, we were doing the breathing. But then as we were walking up to the, we were waiting for for their song to come out, and we were walking out. Then you came in and you were very like, and then I don't know if you slapped him in the face but like, and I realized, that's something that I lack, because I realized that I can get them not thinking about the fight, But there are moments when they need to think about the fight.
Yeah,
and
they need to get hyped.
They need to get
wake up.
Not everyone needs to get hyped.
Yeah.
But a lot of people do.
Yeah, 90% of people
Exactly, right.
need to be hyped.
Yes.
That 10% is the people that has so much experience in the
Yes.
ring that they just don't care.
Yeah, and it looks,
They just don't care. They do it as a, if you go in Thailand and they have 200 plus fight, they will
like
see
a
them.
Sanchai when they come in,
they sat next to
or
their
Rotang,
opponent. They
those
just
guys,
don't care. They're just going in.
Yeah.
They don't care, win or lose. I'm
They're
getting
having fun.
paid. I'm gonna
And
go.
they're having fun.
Yeah, they're having fun, but mainly it's a payday for them. They don't really care about whatever happens.
Yeah.
But to get to that level, also Europe is very different than Thailand. Obviously for them, it's like a football game for us.
Yeah.
Have you ever been anxious before a football game? No. Like, yes, you are, but if you lose, whatever. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for them, it's exact same. But for us, a loss is huge, which I believe in one way has makes someone more nervous, because now we want to be like them famous boxers where you have to have like a 0 loss.
Yeah.
Where reality, I've learned 3 million times more in a loss than wins.
Yeah.
I only have 4 losses in my record, and I've learned the most of 4 losses rather than 14 wins.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So losing is a good thing.
Yeah.
It humbles you. It makes you realize that. It makes you realize you're not that guy.
Well, humble.
Do you know what I mean?
Use the right word.
It humbles you.
That's the right word.
It humbles you.
Yeah.
It makes you go back to the gym and be like, you know what? I need to shut the fuck up, put my head down, and work harder.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about loss, because one of your most recent losses.
Yeah.
You're in the 4-man tournament.
Yeah.
Natty Dodds.
Yeah.
And the confidence was there. And
Everything
was in place.
I think I was overconfident, and that's what got me.
Yeah.
I just like the entire look. About 7-8 weeks before the fight, I wasn't even in the tournament yet, and Natty came to our gym for some sparring, and I sparred him 2 rounds or 1 round, and I thought, oh man, I'll have this guy like easy. Any day of the week, I can fight him today.
Yeah.
So when then, I can't remember who's the fighter that dropped out and they put me back in instead, I had 6 weeks to the fight.
Yeah.
All 6 weeks, I'm thinking about the semi-final. I ain't even thinking about Natty.
Yeah.
Like in my head, Natty ain't there.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna beat this guy, easy work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've trained hard. Maybe the hardest I've ever trained for a fight. I know everyone always says that every fight, but genuinely I've never trained so hard in my life.
Yeah.
And been on it with the dieting, mindfulness review, recovery, everything was on point. I got to the day of the fight. We did weigh in. Natty wasn't there because they had an accident. I don't know, something happened with their car or something. So they were late to the weigh-in. They got there like 8 hours late or something.
Really?
Crazy.
Yeah.
They were stuck in the on the motorway for like 7 hours.
Wow.
There, like crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways, then weigh-in, blah blah blah. Day after the day of the fight, I had Lazary with me. The boys come up from London. My team, Matty, Michael, Steven, couple of other people. The whole day of the fight went to JD, bought myself a Liverpool top, chilling with Lazary, going Nando's. In my head, this fight ain't happening.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
so you were really in a good place.
I was like in a good, like this guy is done. Like, I'm gonna go in, bam bam, he's finished. Yeah, I'll beat him. Done. Go out, semi-final. Matter of fact, I had to go to Saudi with my wife just before the semi-final was gonna happen. Just like a month before or something. So all camp, I'm thinking, how am I gonna go to Saudi and train for Coakley? Because in my head, Coakley was gonna win. This obviously the quarterfinal, and me and Coakley were gonna have to fight each other. So I was thinking, fuck, Coakley is Coakley was in my head the whole time. I'm thinking, fuck, Cookley is a hard fight. I'm going to have to train hard for this. But I'm in Saudi. How am I going to do that? Blah, blah, blah. Questioning myself. I get to the fight. Get ready. I'm playing music in the changing room. Genuinely, zero fuck given. Nothing.
Which is rare for you, right?
It's so rare. Usually I'm tense. I'm ready to go. I'm thinking game plan. Yeah, man. Like usually I'm pumped. Like I'm never that relaxed. Never. I'm always like on edge because I want to go and perform well. This time I had nothing. Like zero heart rate, nothing. I was thinking, you know what? I've done everything that I could possibly do in fight camp. And anyways, this guy ain't at my level. I'm going to beat him. Right? Well, reality is, Natty is a wicked fighter. This guy's been around for years and years and years. I remember when I just started Muay Thai, I used to work. Natty Dodds were already fighting at Thai fight at the O2 Arena. Fought some wicked Thai. The guy was barely 18. He was sick already. Do you know what I mean? So, I don't know. But in my head, I was the man. Yeah. So I got there. I got inside the ring, man, and boom, nothing. I could not see nothing except him and nothing else. I was just blind. But the pace was so fast, I couldn't even see him. I was like, I frozen for a second. Like I remember giving him that one low kick and then I got punched. The right hand, obviously, keep in mind, we're fighting in 4 ounces gloves is the first time. Getting hit in 4 ounces is exactly like a street fight. So it's the same shock. Pa, you go down. Like, I remember he touched me on the back of my head or something. And I dropped, but I never took an 8 count in my life. So I refused to take the 8 count. So I just went boom and stood up.
You stood up quickly.
Yeah, straight in. My bum didn't even touch the floor. But that was so silly of me. Because with the fact that I've never got knocked out or knocked down.
Time to recover
a
bit.
But I'm unexperienced in this. In my head, I'm thinking, what the fuck is happening?
You better get up straight away.
Like, come on, man. Like, switch on. I tried to switch on. I see that when I clinched him, he wasn't as strong as I thought he's going to be in the clinch. But he was so smart that when he sees that, then he continuously came in rapid, and one of the right hand clicked me and I dropped, took the 8 count, came back. He went with a jump teeb, which I think was sick, was pretty good. It looks really good.
Well, he saw that you were already, because he knocked you down, he was looking to...
to attack straight away. He would look at to finish me, which it was the right thing to do, to be fair. Like, he's done, like, his game plan was going in to kill. My game plan was, like, see what he has in the first round, and then I'm going to pick him off. But reality is, in them gloves, it's quite hard. If you never fought in them, it's quite hard to understand, see what he has. Because with normal Muay Thai gloves, it would have been a different game. Like, I don't think that right hand would have dropped me. Like, honestly. I took some licks in my life.
Into the fight,
I wouldn't have time to, like, build myself in. I took some licks with 8 ounces gloves and... Luckily, I've never been dropped with an 8 ounces gloves, but with MMA gloves is a whole different game. And then I remember him jumping team to me, and then we started like it was a bit of like a bit of just swinging in, elbowing, trying to elbow each other. And then I remember I was going into the ropes back, and I tried to go 1-2-1. He was coming in a 1-2-1 and I tried to counter him with an elbow, but what he did it was 1-2-1 and he went straight in elbow. And he just landed here and I just dropped. I tried to get up again, but then Chris, the ref, realized I
think it was a good stoppage.
He looked at my eyes and they wasn't there. My soul was wanted to fight, but my body wasn't there. Do you know what I mean? Like I could not remember nothing. Like zero. And I took a loss, and fair play to Natty, and he was like, I would love to fight him again, and I'm so sure that it's gonna happen again eventually.
So let's talk about that. So we haven't spoken in a while.
Yes.
Right, and there was a period where I don't know what it is. You went back to Italy. You stopped training for a while.
Yeah.
How did that loss affect you, right?
Yeah.
And what did it mean about your future, and what did that make you analyze about yourself?
So when I lost, I had a lot of chats with a lot of different people, and I had a lot of thoughts, negative, obviously. I was blaming a lot. I blamed a lot of people for that loss, which I shouldn't have blamed some people that I blamed for that, because at the end of the day, I am the one in the ring. No matter what your team can do for you, bro, you're by yourself in there. Like, I know they say it's a team game, and it is in training. But on the fight day, yes, the corner is there to corner you. They're going to give you, they're going to try to guard you. But at the end, the one getting elbowed in the face is you. So when you react, is you. So there was some little stuff, I don't really want to speak about them, that happened during the fight, just before and after the fight, that really, really, really angered me, and made me go in a very deep, like a very deep end, dark.
Like there was a depressive period that followed, right?
I wasn't depressed, but I was just in a, I was questioning, in a dark place, in a dark place, because I was questioning if these people were the right people for me or not, like if I should be there or not be there, or like a lot of stuff was going on in my life that I just mentally wasn't, I had to face. I'm not someone that runs away from bad things. I would rather come and speak to you about it. It took me a long time to be able to go and speak to these people, but finally I managed to like just do it. So recently, not far ago, I had a good chat. Everything, we're in a good place. I love the team. Everyone, look, main thing, I grew up with this. Loyalty is the main thing for me in life. You ain't nobody if you don't. You have two things in life. You have your word and loyalty, and three, your balls as well. That's it. That's all you have. That's what a man have. So if you ain't loyal, then it's not good. Loyalty is the principle of life. Like, I joined this team about 10 years ago, almost 10 years. We're together every day. For me to leave them is gonna take a lot.
It's like leaving family,
bro. Basically. It's like, exactly. It's like, right? It is. It's got. I eat with these people. I drink with these people. I slept with these people. I went holiday with these people. Everything I've done in the past 10 years. 90% I done it with these people. I see these people more than I see my wife. Do you know what I mean? I'm with these people 24/7 every day. So for me to leave, it will take a big thing to happen for me to leave. So we're in a really good place now. We work. I work closely with all of them. I'm very happy with the way we progression. But I had a surgery not long ago.
Where?
In my shoulder, June 7th. So it's about 2 months. So
successful surgery?
Very successful.
In Italy?
No, I had it here. With a really, really good doctor. And I am 4 weeks off the sling now, working really hard with some very good osteopath and stuff. As you may know, I'm starting a documentary as well. Where,
tell us a little bit about that.
The documentary is gonna be about it's called The Comeback, and it's designed to show how hard it is actually for a fighter to come back. This is gonna be done over 4 episodes, and it's gonna be on YouTube. Every, I think, second week or first week of the month, we're still deciding. The first episode is gonna drop Sunday, 10th of September.
Nice.
And it's gonna be about 20 to 30 minutes. We're not really sure of the length yet, but I think it's gonna be about 20 to 30 minutes, or nothing crazy. Episode that shows how hard someone gonna work to come back from a surgery like this into the ring. So I have recently signed a contract for a fight I wanted to take this fight because it would challenge me to be better with my dieting, my training, my focusing. I got something planned now. I don't want to announce the date yet because it's going to be announced soon. But
this year?
it's this year and before the end of the year. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Nice.
Yeah, and man, I'm so buzzing. I just can't wait to come back to this division. Like, I'm number 6 currently, but I ain't stopping until I'm number 1. And believe me on that. Like, I said it in the start when I started this sport. I said it that I wanted everyone, and I still want everyone. And I had little bumps in the road here and there, but I think that's what makes me me. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Just lastly on this, because like consider you as a friend, and you mentioned the 10 years with the team. I consider myself that team as well.
Yeah, of course.
I've been on the holidays with you, and
Yeah.
you know, so I'm super excited to see you come back, and it's, you know, you'd be crazy to think you could live a career without losing, you know, unless you're the 1 in a million,
Exactly.
1 in a billion, 1 in 8 billion, right?
I don't think in Muay Thai there is a 0. There is no one on
exactly,
0.
and especially in Muay Thai, right? And that's something to build into this, and it's, you know, like I said, I work with a lot of fighters. Losing is the last thing that they want, but it's an inevitability. The longer you fight, the more chances you have of losing. And remember, it's not so much losing, but like you said, learning experiences. You learn more from those losses because of the way it stings, right? And the way it motivates you to come back. So I would love to see how this documentary plays out, you know, because it's not only coming back from surgery, it's coming back from a loss.
Yeah.
Right? It's coming back from being locked off the scene.
Yeah.
From disappearing almost.
Yeah.
Right, from the scene. So this is the big comeback.
Yeah.
Right? This is where you draw from all those experiences.
Yeah.
You draw from those relationships.
Yeah.
And you're more confident in who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Right? So if you can bring some of that initial, I just want to fight anyone.
Yeah.
You bring that a bit with that. I felt great the last time that I fought.
Yeah.
Right? You find the right mixture. Right? So that you can enjoy the process. But then now that you have the experience, you know what it feels like to get touched with the 4-ounce glove.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to fight again in 4 ounces. I ain't stopping until I'm at 1 championship.
Yeah.
And this is a fact. And everyone knows that I will be there because I visualize this every day.
Yeah.
I know for a fact I'm a grafter, and I've always been. I never take steps back. I always graft. I work hard. And I do my best. And inshallah, I will be there. I am sure. No matter what, I will fight at 1 championship. Inshallah, one day.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. Well, that's beautiful to hear. And you know what? We've believed in you all the way. So just one last question that I ask all my guests. Given the journey that you've had and you said the ghetto upbringing and then all the experiences, life experience you've had, what matters most for you?
Big question, but I think what matters most is my family. Like my wife, family, and just making them proud. Because from who I was to who I am today is very 2 different Amros. Like, you don't even understand how far they are apart.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad of the changes I've done to become the Amro I am today. Because the Amro I am today is a loving, caring, hard-working, family-orientated Amro.
Yeah.
The Amro I was before, it was a angry, dodgy, shady, crackhead Amro. Do you know what I mean? It was a fucking different Amro. So from where I was to where I am, I just thank God every day for the opportunity He gives me, and like to like live the life that I always dreamed of. Like I love my life right now.
Yeah.
And I'm just so grateful for what I have, and I'm looking forward to become the best version of myself, really.
And there's a bright future for you, and we're super excited to, you know, watch that future given the history that we've seen, and you know, we just wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you, Jay.